Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to Survivors and Victims Empowered, or better known as S.A.V.E. I'm Jessica Plasters.
And I'm Sandy Dawson. Over the last few weeks, we've been talking about regaining power and control after sexual assault. For each person, that's different.
Right. Everybody's journey begins at a different point.
Right. It's for each person that goes through that, they're going to find different ways to regain power and control. For some people, it's about reporting their sexual assault to law enforcement. For others, they just want to talk with people and find their own healing process. But it also depends on where in the process they begin.
Right, and when the sexual assault took place.
Right.
Which leads us to today's discussion. Today we're going to talk about moving past your childhood sexual assault. Some adult survivors think because the assault happened as a child that it's too late to begin talking about it or beginning to heal. But this is not true. It's never too late to begin to heal. We have a very special guest on the show today that's going to help us talk about that.
And this is our special guest. Sue Fowler is with us today, and she's here to talk with us more about our topics of regaining power and control and moving past childhood sexual assault.
Well, Sue, thank you so much for coming on our show today. Would you please share with us your story of your childhood?
Well, it's my sexual abuse started when I was about 13 and a half, 14 years old. I was adopted, and I had an opportunity to get to know my real biological parents at that age. So with all parties involved, they agreed to let me go and seek out that opportunity. And at about 13 and a half, 14 years old, I was raped by my biological father. It was quite tragic, quite earth-shattering to a girl at that age. I don't know that my mother knew about it at that particular time, but over years of the abuse, yes, I'm sure that she did have hints. She knew pretty much what was going on. And there was a lot of domestic abuse towards me from my father. And I dealt with this. I lived with this secret for quite a number of years on into my adulthood. And I dealt with it the best way I could. Back in those days, I'm 53 now, back in those days, we didn't talk about it. It was a very secretive subject. You kept it hush-hush, or family swept it under the rug. Right. But over the years, I thought that I had healed myself. I had put my problem, my stress, everything. I had a little jar, and I called it wasn't a real jar, but in my head it was a jar. I had this little jar. It was called my memory jar. And in my mind, I would put all my secrets, all those black thoughts, those dark areas of my life in this jar. And I put it up on the shelf where I thought it belonged, where it would be there away from me. But I knew that it was part of me. It was part of who I was. Yeah, I always carried it. And you've often heard the saying that forgive and forget. Well, you can forgive, but your mind, I think, never really forgets. So all of those years of my adult life, I never forgot. It affected me in various numbers of ways. But after years of thinking that I had placed all those things in my memory jar back on that shelf, my grandmother, who was my father's mother, she became very ill. She was elderly, and we knew that she was about to expire. And she confessed that she had known all those years what was happening to me. And that's all I can say is that just triggered all of that stuff, all of those things in my jar, kind of like a Pandora's box.
Right.
And it just all came out. So I had to deal with it all over again, which has brought me to where I am today.
So when you dealt with it growing up from 13 until your adulthood, you said that you put all of these memories in your jar, but did it still affect you with other people that you met?
Definitely, definitely. It's affected every decision probably that I ever made, every date I ever had, every boyfriend I ever had, my first marriage. It affected how I related to my son. I have a son who is a grown man now, and it related to how I even raised him from infant to adulthood. It's touched every part of my life, financially, physically, emotionally, the whole gambit of things that you could even possibly imagine, and probably in ways that maybe you can't imagine.
Now, when you were dealing with that all those years, did you still have a relationship with your mother and father?
Yes, I did. Let's say, for lack of a better definition, I ran away from home. I was there until I was around 19 years old. My father was very controlling, very intimidating, very abusive as far as physical abuse is concerned. I was scared to death. I mean, in my opinion, there's no greater motivator than fear itself.
Right,
and I lived with that fear all those years, that he was going to hurt me, that he was going to do all kinds of things to me. He had a very tainted past, so to speak, and I was just afraid of him. I was afraid of everything about him. Like I said, I realize now, I didn't realize it then, I didn't even know the words to put to it then, that I was groomed, that I was manipulated, and he was the master manipulator.
So that was from like the age of 13 till 19?
Until
basically.
19, yeah. I was almost 14 when it happened. And that was during the time that I had lived with them, because I never even knew my father.
That's what I was going to ask, is you didn't meet him until you were 13?
No, I never had seen him. I knew my mother because I grew up thinking, I knew this is complicated, but I grew up thinking she was my aunt. And the person that raised me actually was my aunt. It's just their two roles are reversed.
Right.
Does that follow me there?
I understand.
Right. So instead of them taking the opportunity to treat me as their daughter or to raise me as their child, I think he probably looked at me as a young woman moving in his house.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe he was sick, maybe he had mental issues, I don't know. He has passed away since then from cancer. So
When you said grooming, how would you describe that?
grooming, let's see. He knew ways to get around me, ways to talk to me. He knew my vulnerabilities. I think he actually studied me and what my weaknesses were, what my likes were, what I disliked. And he used his power, being my parent, to control me in every way imaginable, to as far as what I wore to school that day, to what I watched on television, to where I went. It was like, I don't have the words to describe it. It would be like being in a prison, of even worse than what we would know as a prison, but where your every move is controlled. Even
Like a hostage situation.
right,
or,
very
you know,
much a hostage
something like
situation.
that.
That was perfect. That's exactly right.
So when and how did the sexual assault occur? Because some of what you're describing sort of leans towards what would just be categorized as domestic violence
Or child abuse.
or a controlling kind of situation. How did sexual assault play into that?
Well, he actually had taken me out. We were in the car, and he had taken me out, and he was telling me how glad he was that I was his sunshine, and that how I had changed his life, and that how much he loved me, and he had always searched for me as a child, wondered what I looked like, where I was, what I was doing. And I had always wanted a daddy.
Right.
My best girlfriend had a daddy, and she looked up to him. And I always knew I had a real daddy somewhere, but I didn't know him. And I so wanted that life.
Right.
And he used those weaknesses against me. So as he was sitting there telling me how wonderful I was and how thankful he was that he had had another chance at parenthood, he put a knife to my throat. And basically he told me that I was never to tell, and that if I ever told anybody, that I would know what would happen. Well, yes, I was 13 and a half years old. I didn't need to be drawn a picture as to what would happen when the cold knife was at my throat. Would
Not
he?
only that, just all the other abuse you was already experiencing, you knew what he was capable of.
Absolutely. And he had had a past record, a violent record, and I always used to think, well, not my father. My father, whose blood runs through my veins, can't be this kind of person. He couldn't have done those things that everybody said that he did. And I chose to believe that he was good, that he was my knight in shining armor. And I loved him very, very, very much. And he was the world to me at that particular time. And that moment, my world changed. And I'm getting emotional here, but it's not because I'm not dealing with it now that I can't deal with it. This does bring back a lot of memories.
It does, and I apologize.
No,
if
please
anything's upsetting you.
don't apologize. I'm not really upset, and part of me, as crazy as this is going to sound, I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm very grateful that I'm here because it allows me a platform and an opportunity to let people know that if they're in this situation, that it is not their fault.
That's exactly right.
They're the victims. They are the victims.
A lot of times they're manipulated to believe that
They
they've
are.
done something.
And I was manipulated to believe that I was bad, that I had done a bad thing, and I lived with that for years. And I'm tell you the true story how I came into this real healing. I was watching Oprah one day, and she had some guests on her show that were pedophiles. And she looked into the television camera that day, and it was as if she was in my TV box, in my bedroom,
Directly at you.
looking at me in my soul. And she said, "It's not your fault.
That's exactly right.
You were the victim." And the story that they were telling was my story. And I relived everything in that moment, but yet I found strength to realize that I too have a story. I wasn't the victim. I love me. I want to survive in spite of it all. And in spite of him, in spite of my mother, my grandmother. Some in my family who decided that I was maybe making it up, or maybe they're still in denial. Some of them support me now to this day and are behind me 100%. Whatever that case is, I'm here in spite of it. And that I'm very proud of.
Right. And you're healing and you're regaining your power and control.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to interrupt you, but we're going to take a quick commercial break real quick. And when we come back, we're going to talk more with Sue about moving past her childhood sexual assault and regaining her power and control. So we'll be right back.
BTW 21, your neighborhood network, the only local channel with a certified meteorologist. Join Kip Wallace and Jamie Singleton at 6 and 11. 21, your neighborhood network, the only local channel with a certified meteorologist. Join Kip Wallace and Jamie Singleton at 6 and 11. Some people travel the country in search for award-winning ribs. Martinsville takes pride in our very own Tommy Houston and Pigs R Us for taking first place ribs all across the country. People drive from all around to taste the sweet, juicy smoked ribs with great southern sides. Two great locations to serve Southside, Martinsville, and Danville. Award-winning ribs, something to smile about.
Too often, health problems can begin after a motor vehicle accident has happened. Accident victims often continue to suffer from pain in their neck and back, headaches, dizziness, spasm, numbness in arms and legs. In many cases, chiropractic care may totally eliminate or greatly reduce the problem safely, quickly, without drugs or surgery. Anyone has been in an accident, come see us. We can help at Hill Chiropractic Center. Give us a call at 632-3334.
Become a fan of the Neighborhood Network now on Facebook.
Hi, I am Diane. I am at Family Pharmacy in Chatham, Virginia. We are an independent pharmacy locally owned. We offer free delivery within 10 miles of the store. We have fast and friendly service. We accept most insurance plans. We offer very low competitive prices on our prescriptions and over-the-counter items. We want to be your pharmacy. I encourage you to come by and visit. Give us a call, 434-432-0780.
Whether you're at work or at home or using your mobile device, you can always find out what's going on in Martinsville and Henry County by liking us on Facebook.
You shouldn't have to empty your wallet to fill your tank. Nissan makes 8 models that get over 30 miles per gallon. And Nissan is the only company with a car that uses no gas at all. Hang on to more of your money.
See a Nissan dealer for 0% financing on Altima or lease it just $179. Visit tuesnissan.com.
BTW 21, your neighborhood network, the only local channel with a certified meteorologist. Join Kip Wallace and Jamie Singleton at 6 and 11.
We'd like to invite you to come see Family Pharmacy and give us a try today. We offer $4 and $10 prescriptions. We offer the $4 and $10 list as well as immunizations, over-the-counter medications, diabetic care and supplies, candy flavorings. We have 50-cent greeting cards, low-price makeup, sunglasses, reading glasses, and more. We offer free delivery within about a 10-mile radius. Let us be your Family Pharmacy today.
All right, welcome back to S.A.V.E. Now, before commercial break, we were talking to Sue, and she was sharing her story about her childhood sexual assault.
You know, in an effort to regain power and control, you've now moved past your childhood sexual assault differently now than the way you did before.
Yes, I have.
Before, you said you locked it in a jar
Right.
on your shelf, and now...
Well, locking it in that jar I found was the worst thing I could do. The best thing that I've ever done, by far, is I told.
So when you said that you were triggered by the Oprah show, but you also talked about your grandmother. When and how did that fall into place that it began to open you up?
Well, I never knew that my grandmother knew. I thought I was the only one that knew. And even to this day, for the life of me, I cannot hardly believe that my father went to his mother and told him what his plans to do to me were. He planned this, and he shared that with her. And my question to her was, well, why did you not call the police or tell somebody or do something to help me? And she said, well, it was none of my business. I didn't want to get involved.
Wow.
So I can let you draw between those lines, you know, pretty much.
When did that come into play from when you heard Oprah?
It was really about the same time. I probably saw that Oprah show that you're referring to. I would say probably within a month of learning all of this.
It's time for you to begin your healing.
Exactly. It was the beginning. It was the first step. And it was a very big step for me because I had to own it. But I still kept having to go back and remember when Oprah said, it's not your fault.
Exactly right.
And if I didn't get anything from anything else, I got that. I understood that.
So what did you do next?
I started telling my story. I went to a pastor of my mother's church, and I talked to him. Unfortunately, he did not have my best interest at heart. He said, well, you have told someone, you've told me. Now go on with your life. But that's not the right advice at all.
Well, that doesn't help you to heal with your internal.
Not at all. In other words, somebody was telling me that I shouldn't be allowed to feel my pain or to hurt anymore.
That you were supposed to get past it since
Right.
it had been so long. You were supposed to just
Right,
not
just
feel that way anymore.
Just get over it. But, you know, it causes such deep emotional scars, you just don't get over it like that. You have to deal with it each little step at a time.
That's right.
And it is little steps at a time. But that is the first thing that I did. Well, having done that, my story was out. The second step was I went to the police. After all of these years, there are still laws that protect people from being raped. However, my father was dead, so of course there's nothing that I can do on that end. But yet my mother still had accountability. They had to interview her, and if they were to be prosecuted, if they were to prosecute her, it would be based on the laws back in the 70s, in the time that this actually occurred. So because of that, there were no laws on the books to cover this kind of abuse at the time. So I guess she faces her accountability in more personal ways.
Right.
So what else have you done to help put your story out there and to continue your healing?
I research. I read everything I can get my hands on the internet. I buy books, good books. On the subject, I have a Facebook page. It's titled Sue Mays Fowler. Mays is spelt with an E, M-A-Y-E-S, Fowler, F-O-W-L-E-R. I talk to other victims. I try to counsel them and talk with them about.
So you advocate, basically,
yes,
like we do.
absolutely, every single day.
Well, I know one of your next steps after you reported was you began researching online, and that's how you found us.
That's exactly right. I found you through, I believe it was RAINN, R-A-I-N-N, and there was I believe it was a hotline that I called that referred me to you all, and that was the best thing that I've ever done. And each time I told my story, I was more empowered.
It got stronger.
And I did. It was just like a daily process. Maybe you can relate it to a flower bud
Right,
opening.
slowly blooming.
And even today, as crazy as this may sound to some, when I help others, I really help myself.
That's part of healing.
And I have never been more enthused, more excited about anything in my entire life.
Right.
And finding you guys and you, Sandy, have been a lifesaver to me, without a doubt.
You're welcome.
You have helped show me that I've got the tools in me. And so does most everybody else. They already have the tools. We just don't know we have them.
Just got to begin
Right.
the process.
Yeah.
Well, Sue, I really appreciate your coming and sharing your story with us, and in effect being the Oprah today to help other people to know that they don't have to be the victim anymore.
No,
and
they don't.
have to do it alone. Just take that step and reach out. There's people like yourself and our agency out there to help.
That's right. I'm sorry we have to close. We have to go ahead and wrap it up today. Thank you so much, Sue, for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything that you would like to say to other victims of childhood sexual assault before we close today?
Well, I think if there's a message here, the message is just remember that you're not alone. You have nothing to be ashamed of. It happened to you. It's something that somebody did to you that you didn't ask for, you could not help it, and that you were a victim. And you can survive this. You can heal, and absolutely you can overcome it all.
That's exactly right.
Feel your joy.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And I know just by, if it's not one of the viewers that's watching it today or somebody that sees, something on Facebook that you wrote, I know your story is going to touch someone. It's definitely touched me today, and I know that it's going to touch someone, and you're probably going to help someone else heal from their childhood sexual assault just by hearing your story.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and leave for today, so we'll see you next Tuesday. Stay safe.
BTW 21, your neighborhood network, the only local channel with a certified meteorologist. Join Kip Wallace and Jamie Singleton at 6 and 11.
Martinsville and Henry County, welcome to Los Norteños. We welcome you.
Are you ready to experience truly authentic Mexican food delivered to your table hot, fresh, and fast? Then you're ready for El Norteño and Los Norteños in Martinsville and Collinsville, Virginia. At both locations, you'll find an extensive and diverse menu of traditional Hispanic appetizers, entrees, desserts, and drinks. Take advantage of daily lunch and dinner specials, book corporate and private parties, or enjoy a delicious meal with family and friends while listening to a live mariachi band. If you're ready to experience truly authentic Mexican food, then you're ready for El Norteño in Martinsville and Los Norteños in Collinsville, Virginia.
Whether you're at work or at home or using your mobile device, you can always find out what's going on in Martinsville and Henry County by liking us on Facebook.
Hello, I'm Creed Taylor with Taylor's Tax and Financial Center. We're here to professionally serve you. We are proven, prompt, professional, and confidential. We provide accounting services, expert income tax preparation, retirement, and financial services. Come see us at Taylor's Tax and Financial Center, 15 Henry Street, Martinsville, Virginia. We're here to professionally serve you.
BTW 21, your neighborhood network, the only local channel with a certified meteorologist. Join Kip Wallace and Jamie Singleton at 6 and 11.
What are you doing? Daddy, we shouldn't want the quick lube.
With our full-service oil change, we check and fill oil fluid, your washer fluid, power steering fluid, brake fluid, transmission fluid, and coolants. We also check your tire pressure, air filter, belts and hoses, and much, much more. We even vacuum your interior and wash your windshield.
Remember, we are more than just an oil change. Come and see my daddy for all your vehicle needs.
Locally owned and operated, safe for kids and pets. For affordable commercial and residential rates, call Foley's Pest Control at 340-8162 or 340-7231. Call now for a pest control or termite control inspection. Foley's Pest Control, locally owned, licensed, and insured.
Bassett is locally owned and operated with hot, delicious, made-from-scratch sauces and pasta. Hot buffet bar every Friday night with pizza, sauces, pasta, salad, and more. Open 7 days a week. Call-in orders are welcome at 629-6992. Papa's Pizza, located at 4288 Ferrystone Park Highway in
decals, church and business signs, professionally designed and installed. Enhance your business vehicles with a custom vehicle wrap. From the simple yard sign to a custom built, Ridgeway Signs can and will do it all. Stop by and visit Brad or visit online at ridgewaysigns.com. Follow us on Facebook too. Ridgeway Signs, not your average sign company. The Dutch Inn, locally owned and operated for 40 years. Casual dining at its best, featuring Friday night seafood buffet, Saturday night prime rib buffet, daily lunch buffet, and daily breakfast specials. For today's menu, call 276-647-3721. The Quality Inn Dutch Inn, not your run-of-the-mill hotel.